I remember the second race very well. It was in Barra about 2 weeks after the first. From the first race to the second race, I did a wee bit of training, a little bit of running. I remember one night posting on Facebook after doing the first race that I was out training for another run. And I remember some guy, I remember his name, but I'm not going to mention it, private messaged me on Facebook going, mate, are you serious? Why are you putting up a message? You're running, you don't run. And I said, I am running. And to be honest, that was the last time he ever fucking said that. Whenever he's seen my commitment, so fuck him. But that's just something that comes to mind. But the second race went well. It was 5 mile again. It was quite a tough one. I remember going up this big hill near the end, and they had the Garda, which is the Irish police. They were there, and just marching the road. And I said to the policeman, red faced as fuck, you know, can you arrest me? And we all laughed at that. And it was hard. The love for the running was not really there. Euphoria. It was still a struggle at that time. And the second race went well, and it was about 2 weeks after the first race, and then it was 5 mile, like I say, and I did it in 58 minutes, which is 7 minutes faster, which is in the space of 2 weeks was pretty impressive, and probably at least a less tough course, but still, that was very good. This story has significance as well, because that was the first time Mary and the two boys came to watch me run. They were at the finish line. I'll never forget Reardon, my son Reardon, who was, he must have been 4 at the time. He said to me at the end of the race, he said, Daddy, I want to be a runner. And then it just clicked. The fucking light went on my head. Like, that's the example he's never had before from you. Yes, you like heavy metal, and it was nice that he liked some of the bands you liked. Yes, you like Liverpool, and you forced him to wear the jersey, and he cheers when you cheer. But that's still not really an example. Now it made perfect sense. This is finally the time that he was going to see me as a role model that I wanted him to be. It's okay being a father, being there, bringing home money, spoiling them a little bit, but they need to see more than that there. They need to see you doing better for yourself, you accomplishing something. And it just that very day, and it's absolutely no exaggeration. He said to me, Daddy, I want to be a runner. It blew my brains clean out of my head. I was like, right, that's it. That's it. And from that point then, it was just head down. Every race that was local enough, I was driving to it. I think the third run was another 5 miler in Drumduff. Then I remember I signed up for my first 10k, which is 6 miles. And I remember this was my first injury that day, because I was running along. It was a pretty hot day, and that run, which I've done now 1,000 times, I think the last 3 mile from about mile 3 to 6 or whatever it is. It's just straight. It's just fucking straight. You could do it in first gear in a car, but on a road it just languishes on a bit. It's like, oh. And it was a hot day, and I was starting to fade. And that day, I'd never done 10k, and I certainly hadn't trained for it to any great degree. And I remember just starting to fatigue and slow down and collapse almost, and maybe take the walk, which is no shame really at all. So and this bird came to me, and she knew me as a relative of her friend Diane, who was actually incidentally was married to Terence, who had the heart attack where this whole story all started. And she said, come on, guy, I don't think she knew my name. She said, come on, I'll stick with you. I'll talk you through this. Just finish this one strong. You'll thank me for it, sort of thing. And so we were running along, and we were just, I don't know what the hell we were doing. 8 or 9 minutes, probably 8 or 9 minutes, my balls. 10 or 11 minute miles, that kind of thing. Happy enough. I was back in the game. She was distracting me a little bit, rabbiting on in my ear, and me talking back and telling her this is my 5th run or whatever it might have been, and my first 10k, and she thought that was fascinating. And all of a sudden, some bollocks, and I don't think he was a bollocks. He meant no harm, but probably wish I hadn't met him. He was walking the other way. He had finished the race, and he said, guys, the finish line's just 500 meters away, or half a k. You're nearly there. If you hurry now, you'll do it in under an hour. So that would have been a pretty good time for a 10k run for me at that time. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and then she went, shall we? And I went, oh, I don't know. And she went, come on, sprint. And I've never sprinted since I've been playing football 20 years before that, Jesus. Anyway, so she talked me into it through her eye movements, through her look in her face. She was like, come on. And I just sprinted, and then I just felt my fucking knee go. But I kept going. Mary and the family were all there at the end as well. and I remember like showing no signs of pain, but the knee had swollen up a bit. Back then, it was interesting as well. This free sport that we love doing, this free activity. Back then, I was still wearing a beanie hat pretty much. Any old t-shirt, sometimes usually the shirt that came free with a race, or a football top or a heavy metal t-shirt, and a pair of tracksuit bottoms and a pair of shoes that were older than I was. Essentially, I had no idea of this how expensive this sport could be. But I remember then just going through the races after that there, and starting to collect bits of merch, shall we say, pair of shorts, bought a better pair of shoes, but had no understanding of whether they were right or wrong for me. I think my mum and Mary were two women that were phenomenal, and I'll always said, get me things, buy me things. Mum was like, what do you need and what do you want, and do you need this and that? And then the more I read about running, you needed calf socks, fucking this, and compression shorts, and I started to, oh my god, it was so much stuff at the time, and the shoes got dear, and then somewhere along the way you get a running watch, and you realise that running watch is shite, and you want a better one, and you throw it away, and you sell it for £5 on eBay, and you save up and you buy another one, and every time your birthday comes, your birthday presents, you're becoming more and more boring. You want a race ped for, you want a new pair of shoes. Santi comes, and you want new running gear, and it becomes an obsession. And obsession's a key word here. I just could not fathom without the acceleration of a run. Finally, after Reardon had said to me that time that I want to be a runner, I really understood what that stuff did to me. Did to me the endorphins in my head and my soul, how it made me think, how it made me feel. Seeing yourself in the paper, photographs, seeing your results on Facebook, being part of the community, which I'll definitely touch on in the next video, I think, with the friends that I've made, and the praise you get. There are, of course, unfortunately, bad runners, which I'll touch on now to some degree. There's runners who don't recognise your journey, don't recognise your struggle sometimes, don't see where you come from, just see you at races. You're not in their calibre. There's snobby elitists for sure, absolutely, ones that are very much fast as hell, don't give a fuck about you, don't, maybe it was always natural to them. Those are the scumbags I hate, and I know a few of them, and they think they're something. I don't know what they think they are. They think they've got airs and graces. They still go to a full-time job like I do. They ain't representing Ireland Olympics, so fuck them. They're worthy of that much of a mention, so fuck them. But the warmth of the running community is fantastic. But to sort of go back a wee bit, still to this day, I think one of my favourite running memories is it was somewhere in between all those runs. On a training run one time, I sort of had an idea that I wanted to try and run a certain distance without stopping, or taking a walk, or slowing it down to nothing more than a crawl. And I remember, I think I was up visiting my parents, and I put on some shorts and all, and I decided to go for a run. It might have been the second run of the day, and I said to myself, I'd like to run from here to McKelvey's Inn and McKelvey's Road, and that was about 2.2k that I know it to be now, and I decided to try and do it without stopping. I didn't know if I could do it. I'd run races before that, but never without stopping, if you like, or necessarily without having a wee walk, which is still a good thing to do, even to this day. But yeah, that day I did run 2k. I remember listening to the Rocky 4 soundtrack in my ears, and I remember crying whenever it was done. The wee girl in my ear said, 2k. I don't even remember what the time was. It could have been 25 minutes. I didn't really give a shit. But I'd done it without stopping, and there was hills there was downs, there was inclines, there was flats. No one's going to tell you that it's the hardest run you'll ever do, but on that particular day, it felt like I'd ran up something. I'd ran into a dragon's mouth without a ass. That's how successful it felt to me, and it was a good feeling. It's still one of my favourite memories, just that no one was there to see it. It just was a set of the biggest accomplishment of my career at that time. And then I think, running can make you pretty boring. It can make you a little bit, God, talking about running like I'm doing now. Talking, everything about running, go on holiday, go here, there's another race there. And I think that's just something you have to embrace. And for my partner, it's going to be hard on her sometimes. She books a lot of the holidays as well, and runs are part of that. She books a lot of the hotels if the run's a little bit far away. She's a great supporter, and yeah, she's always been there. And this week I've got last man standing, and she's got a tent for it, so you could stay out and cheer me on and whatever else. And I think you need that support from the family as well. You need a wild big buy-in from everybody, everybody. And I think I have that pretty much. You have I have a mum here, thank the Lord, and she's a tremendous fan, and I'll visit her a couple of times a week coming from work, and she'll always be like, "Look at the state of them shoes. Do you want me to buy you new shoes?" You're like, "Mum, you've done your job. Your days of buying me stuff are over." But she never listens anyway. She recently asked me what I wanted from a 40th birthday, and I said originally a Liverpool top, but then I thought about it and I goes, "No, I think I might need a new pair of running shoes. That I don't mind because it's a birthday present, but I've got Dublin Marathon coming up in another few weeks, so I'd like to be geared up for that with a pair of shoes that I've kind of broken into." And where's the direction of this kind of story going? Yeah, I think I'll go here. Right, so the the runs, they all come up. You got to go through the gears a little bit. I did a 5 mile run before I did a 5K run, and maybe that was a good idea because it was a slow run, it was a hard run, that first run anyway. And as the kind of weight come off, you get a bit faster, and the times become a wee bit consuming, and you start thinking, Christ, if I hadn't have slowed down around that corner, if that hill hadn't got me, or if I hadn't walked the hill, make it faster. So there's always this message that I say to people, like, celebrate finish lines, not finish times. But ultimately it becomes you're lying to yourself if you don't get a bit angry. I certainly get angry when I see a time. A couple of years ago, I'm bouncing all the time ways. About a year ago, I think it was, I got a PB of a sub and a 5K of, God, it was just nearly 19 minutes and 10 seconds. It was an amazing feeling. That's a whole year ago. I've never got it since, but that's okay. You make your peace with that. Sometimes it is what you eat, how you slept the night before, the course. I think it was a park run. I've done that park run a lot. I've never got 19 minutes and 10 seconds again. So am I failing in running? I don't believe I am. It's just a case of those wee things can niggle at you. 10K courses can differ from 44 minutes to 42 minutes to 50 minutes, and you're like, what the fuck's just happened there? But I think it's okay. A lot of that stuff, it's okay. I can leave it in mind and move on to the next race. Whenever I train, it's essentially it's just dandering along. I'm not really training and practicing at any great speed. Now and again, if it's a flat course, I might go a bit buck mad, but whatever the watch says, the watch says. That's okay with me. But I think I wanted to finish this story off just before the first marathon. So we started running, as I say, in March 2015. I remember New Year's Eve 2015, so the day before 2016. I've been running 9 months. Came to a race, I'll tell a lie, it was St. Stephen's Day, the day after Christmas. I was so hungover. I was like literally vomiting in the bathroom in the GAA halls before the race was after it was over. I go, this is fucking hell, oh my god. And I got a PB that day. Some things don't really make sense how it works sometimes. Well, I thought I'd just mention that story. It was absolutely mental. I felt so bad that day, but I guess I couldn't wait for the race to be over. But so into 2016 we went, and everything was feeling a bit more comfortable. The weight was coming down great. It was coming down bundles. It was nice getting new clothes and getting the shorts and getting the gear. And I think I started wearing the headbands around April 2016 that you now maybe familiarise or associate me with. But right, so this is where we were. So I started running March 2015, and then by March 2016 I was ready to do my first half marathon. That's a whole year later. I think that year was very important to test things out, get myself in good shape. The half marathon, I did it that day. I wore a hydration pack. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Didn't really need it, but I hadn't a clue. I never really had anybody to sort of say, no, that's not what you need. Just did things my own wee way. But did that one in 1 hour 47. There's a famous-ish photograph of me, if some have seen it, of me down on one knee at the end of that finish line in March, late March, early April 2016. My first half marathon done, and I was done. I had given everything I had, and I was done. And that was at that night. I got drunk to celebrate. Woke up the next morning, and I'd signed up for a full marathon in Belfast for 1 month later. That was a pretty sobering thought. Whenever a half marathon had literally killed me, and here we were. Drunken SP was in the room and said, "Hey man, you're going to do a marathon in a month's time, or you can do a marathon in a month's time without any training whatsoever.